if it's all for you.
So welcome to our next edition here of On the Sidelines. We've gone away from the football route today, and we've got a boxer, a special guest. He's the brother actually of former world champion Glenn McCrory. Had a career himself, and he's obviously he sparred with some great names, which he's going to tell us a little bit about. Welcome to On the Sideline, Shaun McCrory. How are you doing, Shaun?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good, mate. Thanks for coming on. So, like I say, as we mentioned there, you've done the rounds a little bit with boxing. You've seen it worldwide. Had some great sparring, which we'll talk about shortly. So, if you just tell us how you first became familiar with a boxing gym, then was it a case of your dad taking you along?
It was actually my dad, because he boxed in the army. Then obviously he took us straight to the boxing gym at Constant Sports Centre. So we boxed for Constant Sports Centre. Then we all moved on to turn professional, and like just went on from there.
Okay, brilliant. So there's four McCrory brothers, I'm right in saying. Is that right? Yourself, Glenn, and then two others?
There's four brothers, two sisters.
Right. Okay. So sort of a male dominant household, and you did all four brothers box. Is that right?
No, there was two didn't.
Right.
There was three of us: Gary, Glenn, and me.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so like say yourself and Glenn obviously were the biggest sort of boxers in the family. Did you box together, go along to the gym together, and was it something like that, a bit of a family affair?
Yeah, we sparred all the time.
Did you?
On all his title fights, I was his sparring partner. When he fought like for all of his world title fights, I was his sparring partner.
Ah, fantastic. Yeah.
And so was like our Gary was his sparring partner too.
Right.
But he was like a lot heavier than me, which Gary was I'd say about 17 stone.
Right.
Where I was used for like the speed, because I was only like 11.5 stone, 12 stone fighter.
Yeah, I watched a few of your fights on YouTube there, Shaun, and you could see you were lean, quick, and quite an agile fighter. And like you rightly said, I used to see Glenn in the corner there. So yeah, it's quite nice that you always had each other to bounce off, and good abilities, and probably helped each other out, like you touched on there.
Yeah, but it was probably like the hardest thing ever, sparring with your brothers, because no one likes to see your brother getting the better of you. You know what I mean? It would start getting like a bit nasty, and my dad would be sitting in the background, like cringing like mad, because it would start getting nasty.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Really hard, because it was like brothers fighting.
I thought you meant taking it easy because you didn't want to hurt your brother.
No, I did.
So it's a complete opposite. Brilliant.
Yeah, because you got paid for it. Like Glenn paid for it, so you had to work hard for it.
Right.
So it was the kind of thing to do. Right. So it did get hard at times. And like the punches never got held back. Glenn would try and take you out. Gary would try and take you out. But most times I was too quick for them all.
Too slick, yeah, brilliant, great stuff. It's just
I was in and out all the time.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. About some battles between you and the brothers in the gym. Then, just tell us a little bit about your boxing career, then, Shaun, because I know you were quite a talented boxer in your younger years. Just tell us how your sort of career went, as it were.
I first started at Constant Sports Centre as an amateur. Then I went to one gym one day, and my dad took us there, and I sparred with a kid that I can't remember the second name, but it was somebody David, and there was a mountain coach there, and he was professional, fighting for I think it was a Commonwealth title, and that's what anybody sparring. So I said, can I jump in the ring with him? And my dad shouted it out. So I jumped in the ring and I tore him apart. And the American coach that was there at the time said to me, "Edward, can I take your son to America to fight for me?" And my dad said, "No." So like begged him and begged him. So eventually my dad gave in and said, "Yes, you can take him across to America." And that's where I went on to pursue my amateur career.
Oh, so your amateur career was predominantly in America, is that right?
The first start of a lot of fights, I think it was like 60 some were in England. Then the rest went on to America, and I had 6 fights in America.
Oh, really? Okay. What was that? What was the
And
difference
I
like?
was
What was the difference like, Shaun, from boxing amateur in the UK to going across the pond to the US? Was it tougher over there? Did you find?
It was much harder.
Was it?
The fights were easier, but the sparring was much tougher because everyone wanted to hurt you. Because I was English,
Yeah.
and it was just the sparring was as tough as anything.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
And I
Yeah.
saw some good fights like Kenny Weiss, lightweight champion.
Right.
He fought Julius Chavez for the world title, and
Yeah.
it was tough. I felt like a fight was easy, so I used to just say, "Fix us up for a fight."
Yeah. Train hard and fight easy. So
Yeah, it was the fights were easier.
that's it. So is that where you got the opportunity to spar? Like, it seems crazy, but you sparred Evander Holyfield, to name a few top names in America. So that was where you got the opportunity.
Yeah, my first top one partner was James Tillis when he fought Evander Holyfield in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. And I went to a place called Wagner in Oklahoma. We were there in camp for 6 weeks, which was marvelous. And like Tillis was probably one of the greatest teachers you could ever spar with. Fantastic.
James Tills, yeah.
Yeah, James Tillis, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So that was obviously a great experience for you and learning. And then how did the sparring with Evander Holyfield come about, Shaun?
I did a few weeks with him when he fought the next fight after James Tillis with Pinklin Thomas. And it was fantastic. And he was a lovely guy. But as you say in the pictures, I was the taller guy and he was only small at the time. He wasn't like the big monster he was on like the Tyson and all the other guys. Riddick Bowe, Lewis, he was a monster after that. But at the time when I sparred him, he was just, I would have said about 14 stone.
Right.
So I was only fetched in for speed.
Could you see Evander was a special talent then when you sparred with him back then, all them years ago?
Oh, brilliant. The movement, everything, the reflexes, the quick timing, he was fantastic. Really sharp all the time. But he put the pressure on you all the time and made you work.
Did he? Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, it was super tough.
Yeah, there's not many people that sort of get that opportunity. So it's a massive thing for you to look back on. And then obviously watching him in them huge fights later on in his career. And you must be sort of feel privileged and proud that you shared a ring with Evander.
I seen fighting the big guys and I think, he's knocked these guys out, but he couldn't put me on the floor.
Yeah, no, I spoke to you the other night, Shaun, and yeah, clearly you're a tough man. You said you'd never been stopped or anything like that, or put down in sparring or any fight. So that takes some going in a tough sport.
I had 80 odd fights in my fighting career, and there's nobody put us on the floor or nothing. The only guys I ever beat were on points, which I was privileged because I come out unhurt.
Yeah.
But more privileged because out the brothers, I was the only one that never got put on the floor.
Wow, that's some going. So your dad obviously thought highly of you. Again, I spoke spoke to you at length the other evening on the phone, and he thought potentially you were, as good as Glenn, maybe even better. So,
Yeah. My dad used to say I was the most talented fighting son you had. But it didn't work out because obviously I had a bad car crash and I had to retire early.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, yeah. Like you said, you explained about the crash. So, did that injured your arms, Shaun? Is that right? When you had the car crash?
It was actually my elbows. Yeah, because obviously I covered my face because I went through the windscreen of the Astra van and I covered my face. Just sleep in the back of the van and I heard the two people in the front scream and I just covered my face and I went through the windscreen. And that was my elbows like hurt,
Right. Okay. So, did you ever box? Obviously, we're looking a bit beyond the accident. That was obviously a horrible incident. But did you get in the ring and box again after the car crash, then, Shaun?
Yeah, I had a few fights and I fought a kid called I had a few fights after that. Then I fought a kid called Jimmy Price. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
Me left arm locked up in the first round, and at the time he was a big hitter. I think he was undefeated at the time, and my arm locked up, and obviously my eye closed in the first round because I couldn't defend myself. And at the end, I still took the full distance, and I should have won the fight. Then that was kind of my last fight because the pain in my left arm was unbearable.
Right. Okay. So you couldn't do anything with the left arm at all. Like you just had to try and hold it up as a guard.
My left arm was going down. I just couldn't pick it up on my side because I knew he was a big hitter. And I just couldn't pick my arm up. Then at the end, I just had to throw hooks. And I just stood
that's all you could throw.
I should have won the fight, but I got beat on a split decision.
Well, yeah, it must have been really frustrating not to be able to, have full use of both arms, and you never thought about pulling out. Then, Shaun, you never thought about stopping for 1 minute.
No, do or die. No. I always said to me, Colin, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out in style. But I've got a heart of a lion, which I always have done.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Well, that'd have been fair play to you, because like I say, you've got to have a massive heart to stay in there, especially when your faculties aren't all intact, if you like, and not everything's working. So yeah. So what happened beyond that fight then, Shaun? Once you had problem,
that was the last one.
That was it. After that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to retire after that.
Okay.
Then it was years later. I think I got the age of 28, 29, and I decided to give it another go. So I said, put us in the ring with the best light heavyweight you've got. So he took us down to Sheffield to spar with Clinton Woods.
Yeah.
So I went down there with him, and they wanted 4 rounds. And they wouldn't let us wear the gloves I come out with, which was ordinary 14-ounce spawn gloves or 16-ounce. And they made us put these like Popeye gloves on. And I went in the ring, and he had the same gloves as what I come with.
Okay.
And they wanted 4 rounds. After the first round, my timing was pretty much wrong. Then after the second round, they called a halt. Because he was going to fight for, I think it was a European title, and I started marking him up a little bit. And they called a halt. Said that was enough. And I was fighting with Popeye gloves on, the biggest gloves in the world.
Yeah. So you'd have done some damage if you'd have had the original gloves on then.
Yeah, and I said to Glenn, if that's the best that's around, I'm coming back.
And then what happened from there, Shaun, after that spar with Clinton Woods?
I was in another car crash, and I went through the back window of a transit van, and that was me finished.
My God, you couldn't call that luck, could you?
No, it was terrible. Like the sport you love, and you were nearly there, then fell short.
Yeah, yeah, it must be frustrating. Yeah, it must be very frustrating. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's yeah, like I just said, you just couldn't make that kind of luck up. You know, you had the first crash for starting to feel good, and then God forbid you had another one. But at least you're sort of like I say, you're still here. You got some great stories to tell. Going on to another one, if you could just tell us a little bit about Nigel Benn. You were meant to be his sparring partner. Was it before he fought Nicky Piper?
It was for the Nicky Piper fight. I was chosen because obviously Dean Powell works in my corner, so I was picked to spar fair Nigel Benn Tenerife for 3 weeks. Then I went to look for somebody that was really strong in different gyms. So I went to like a different gym that I would normally not train at. And I sparred a kid. He was like Raj, like crazy. And I thought, like, look, I'm going to get me respect. So I tried to take him out with right hand and jump around my shoulder, put my shoulder out. And I dislocated my shoulder at the time.
Right. So that was what a day
And the
before
pain
you
was
a day before you was meant to go out to Spain.
Yeah, it was on the Tenerife. It was on the
Right.
Friday, and I was going to fly on the Saturday.
Oh, really?
I was like heartbroken. I'd even get permission off me work to go out for the 3 weeks, and everything was sorted.
What an experience that would have been to be in with Nigel Benn, and obviously you were going to be the main sparring partner.
Yeah.
So it must have been a privilege to be selected.
So instead,
Yeah, it must have been a privilege to be selected as Nigel Benn sparring.
I was on it. Someone was good and respect us to think I was like in his category to spar with him.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like an honour.
Did you ever met Nigel, Shaun?
So yeah, I've met him a few times. Yeah.
Okay. You never sparred with him over here. That was going to be your first and only time.
No, that was the first moment I was going to get the chance to spar with him.
Wow.
I was buzzing at the time.
Yeah, I bet.
It was like a great feeling. Like someone recognised you.
Yeah. Yeah, to be in with a Dark Destroyer.
So yeah. Oh, it would be marvellous. And at the end, it was Tony Booth went over to spar with him. Which I'd beat twice.
Yeah.
Which makes it, I felt like terrible.
Felt worse, yeah. Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. There's just someone else I want to ask you about, Shaun. Hoping to speak to him actually very soon here on the Sidelines is Tim Witherspoon. You've shared the ring with him, is that right?
No, it was his brother
Anthony Witherspoon. Yeah, he was highly rated. Yeah.
Yeah, at the time, the guy that took the title off Glenn, Anthony Witherspoon beat him, Jeff Lampkin.
Right.
And I was actually Andy's spawn partner because he was in our camp at the time when Glenn defended his title at Middlesbrough against I think it was Cesar Martini.
Right. Right.
And I was Andy's spawn partner, and I was that honoured he come to watch this fight at the Storm Main, and he was screaming in my corner. And it was like, shoe shine, Shaun, shoe shine. Because I had a little trick with a little fast little riddle in the body. Then I would just step back and it was right hand. And he was marvellous.
Was he? Yeah. So he was shouting that in your corner, encouraging that manoeuvre from you.
You can hear it on one of the tapes on YouTube, him screaming and shouting all the time.
Yeah, right. He was quite a ferocious fighter himself. I know Tim said Anthony probably should have gone all the way. Anthony Witherspoon.
He should have. He was like so talented. Like obviously he beat the guy that knocked Glenn out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like he was like brilliant. but he was like lovely. He was like a preacher, teacher, and we had some great sport sessions every night for 6 weeks.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
But I held my own
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And like, I would honestly say I probably shun more than him. Because my dad just said, my talent, you're picking him off that much.
Yeah.
It looks marvelous. My dad was so proud of us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just.
Then the other one that fetched him was James Pritchard,
Okay.
which he was strong and absolutely annihilated him in the ring. Just picked him off like mad. And I remember my oldest brother that was fought James Olibola twice in the ABA finals. He struggled like mad with him. And I think at the end he wouldn't spar with him no more. So I thought at 19 years old, I'm not doing too bad.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's just a shame you couldn't. It's a shame you couldn't show your full potential, because exciting fighter, Shaun, and like you say, you had the great grounding in America and over here. So, but such is life, like you say. Thank God you're still here, and could have been worse, but it's one of them. Yeah, it's probably just sits with you a little bit that you could have gone on and really cracked it, in the pro ranks.
Yeah, definitely. Because I remember Glenn, it was one Friday night, he said there was, I got a phone call at work. He says, Sean, I got, at this time, you didn't have mobile phones. He says, oh, Sean, I've got you an easy fight tomorrow night. So I said, where's the fight? He says, Milan, Italy. So I said, all right. He says, come to the gym. So I went to the gym in Stanley. He says, I need to spar with you. So I spar with him. Then he says, there's nobody to go here, so I'm going to fetch a coach that never worked with us before. So I went across Milan, Italy, and the guy that was going to work my corner, he says, Sean, went for the weigh-in. I was 6 pounds lighter than him. He says, do you know who you're fighting? I said, no, I fight nobody, as Glenn said. And I was fighting the #1 middleweight in the world, Von Collins. So Glenn said it was a 6-round fight, pure lie.
Yeah.
It ended up being an 8-round fight. And I had him out in the 6th round, and I just couldn't finish him off. Because the bell went. But if it'd been in England, I would have won the fight. Absolutely unanimous decision. He won the fight on a split decision. And the next fight after me, he fought Julian Jackson for the world middleweight title. I was so close for it.
Yeah.
For someone to fight Julian Jackson for the world title, one of the greatest middleweights on the planet. And I just couldn't believe it. I walked out the ring with not even a mark on my face.
Really? Yeah.
And both his eyes were puffed up a lot, and I was devastated.
Sadly, we've seen it before, Shaun. We still see it now. The controversial, shocking decisions, the bad judges, and especially when you go overseas, you have to. Well, you have to just have them on their back, otherwise you've lost. So it sounds like that was the case there.
Yeah. But my brother was a bad matchmaker. I used to think you meant to look after your brother. But he didn't. He just put us in with everybody. But I was never bothered because I was fit. I was never out of shape or anything all my life. I just straight after the fight, I was back in the gym.
Yeah.
I was just so absolutely
dedicated,
focused on it. I wanted to be somebody, wanted to make it. And that's all I did all my life.
Why do you think Glenn did that? Not tell you then? He just sort of didn't want you to think about it. Just go over there and get the job done,
Because he kind of said we're being like a young lad, like probably nerves would get the better of you. And you'd probably just focus on who he was and it would get the better of you mentally.
Yeah.
But like I always remember my dad said, at the end of the day, everybody's human. Everybody's scared of each other. Which it is right.
Yeah.
We all like, doesn't matter who we are, we're all nervous and we're all worried about each other who we're fighting, which is a true thing.
Would you have preferred to known your opponent, or would you have preferred that to have happened? You just landed in Milan and suddenly find out you're fighting one of the top fighters over there. Which would you have preferred?
Actually, I wouldn't have been bothered.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, in my head was, you're human. Let's see what you got. If you know what I mean. I was like, my dad like teaches a lot. And I just thought, there's no man better than you. You're all equal. It's what you got. Have you got a big heart or have you not? It's a heart that takes you there to win. How much dedication and how strong is your heart?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the mentality. You've done, like you said, you've done the work in the gym. You clearly lived the life, diet, ate, slept well, always in the gym. That's the trouble with a lot of boxers. They balloon up after fights or go on these holidays and then they have to work back down to their fighting weight. But you obviously didn't do that.
I never did. I never put a pound on. I struggled to put weight on, and I ate anything I wanted, but I just trained that hard.
Right.
And I had a mental block. Was like, don't let yourself go. Just keep going.
It's one of the toughest sports, Shaun. Would you agree? Training for boxing. I mean, I've only done bits and pieces of it, nothing to the degree, but it's a hard sport.
Everything really hard because like every night you spawn with somebody and they're trying to hurt you, and you like I would finish work and you're like, your mind's on I'm spawning the night, and you just focus totally on. As soon as I finished work, I used to just totally focus on, right, gym night.
Yeah.
Who you want, I'll give the best.
Brilliant. So we sort of spoke about your sparring and your career and that, and your journey and your story. It's been really interesting. We'll talk just quickly about your brother, Glenn McCrory. Then you must be really proud of Glenn. You know what he's achieved in the sport. We see him on the TV to this day. I think he's as I said to you the other evening, he's a great pundit. You must be proud of what he achieved and what he's got out of boxing, really.
Yeah, I totally proud of him. Like I always looked at him. He was my mentor. Like, I'll send you a picture of our bedroom, Glenn. There's pictures of every world champion in our bedroom. It was like me, Gary, and Glenn used to sleep in the bedroom together in the same bed, and I was like Piggy in the middle. And there's like pictures all over. But the biggest picture on the wall was Muhammad Ali.
Was it?
Was it? Yeah. And we used to go out running, me and Glenn, and like we had competitions. Like there was a staircase up at Lanny Park at County Down, and it was like jump on your back, you had to run up, run around. Next person jump on, pick back up, and it was like marvelous times.
Yeah,
it was so dedicated, and it was like so tough because like obviously the spawn got very intense. I remember Glenn was going to challenge for Caesar Martini at Middlesbrough, and I was spawning, and I had a hard fight against Carter from Wolverhampton, Richie Carter, and he was undefeated at the time. So Glenn said, "Get down the gym. I need to spar you because you got a tough fight." Went down, hit Glenn with left foot body. That was him finished for the night. He said, "If you dare get beat, I am going to kill you." And I lost on a split decision against Richie Carter. And I was like, Glenn was saying, "Shaun, you've just knocked out the world champion with left hook to the body, finished him for the night. and you go and get beat of somebody.
Yeah.
And he was like Pat Cowdell's like top fighter at the time.
Really? Yeah.
But I was on his home show, that's why I got beat.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Same sort of thing then. No, great stories, I say. But it's great to grow up with Glenn, like you say, and he achieved the world champion status. Fantastic. Like I say, I think he's a great pundit, and obviously still a great. He does quite a bit of coaching still, I think, doesn't he, Glenn?
Yeah, he does, yeah. And I remember the times like in the house with mum and dad, his fists would be flying everywhere, shadowboxing over top of the heads. It was just non-stop all the time. And my mum said, if you hit me, my dad's going to kill you. But he was so funny. He just never stopped. It was like all the time.
Really, just shadow boxing around the house all the time.
I couldn't even get into bed and sleep. Like, you'd lie in bed and you get left, you get dig in your back. And it was just, he just like, call me back. And I just think, Gary, you sleep in the middle. Let me sleep on the other end.
Give us a
It
rest.
was so funny.
I did see a little bit of Twitter beef. I don't know if it was real or a bit of banter, but he was having a bit of back and forth with Lucas Brown. Do you know if there was anything in that at all, Shaun?
No.
Just
No, I know of, no.
no, just a bit of Twitter banter. Then must have been, yeah.
Just the Twitter banner.
Yeah.
He's never said nothing. Nah, I think everything was koshy. Everything was all right.
Good. So just finally, Shaun, like you still follow the boxing now on obviously it's coming back on Saturday night in Eddie Hearn's back garden in Brentwood. I know he's got acres of land there, so
You have a good back garden.
yeah. So I'm personally looking forward to getting boxing back on the telly. I know there's going to be no crowds there, but you still watch and follow the boxing?
Yeah, I still watch all the time, but I only watch the ones my favourite.
Yeah, your bigger fights. Yeah, who's your favourite current fighters, then, Shaun, that you like to watch?
I'm quite enjoying Tyson Fury at the minute because I like the big guys.
Yeah.
I'm quite enjoying him because I fought his Hugh Fury.
You like Huey?
Hugh Fury. I fought him in my first professional fight.
Right.
At Stanley. And he was as rough as anything. Obviously, it's like Tyson's Fury. They're all like related. But he was rough, tough.
Yeah, mate.
That was on Glenn's World Title Bill. That was my first pro fight.
Right, okay. Well, so he's a relation of Tyson Hugh Fury, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
How do you see the Tyson?
This is his uncle.
How do you see the Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight going, Shaun? If hopefully we get to see that next year, fingers crossed.
Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
All day. Joshua's good, but I think mentally, Hugh Fury will get to him.
Yeah, he's good.
Because I've never seen a fighter that comes out in a Batman suit fighting Klitschko. It was all mental. He's mad.
Yeah. He can, yeah.
But he knows what he's doing. He gets inside your brain before he fights. And that's how he wins it.
Yeah. So we were talking just recently, with the Wilder fight. He said that's what he was going to do. Come out, I'm going to put it on you. Whereas everyone thought he'd be on the back foot. But he done the complete opposite. But that's what he said he would do. He did it, and he executed it superbly, and took Wilder out.
Yeah,
Wilder
can't fight in the back foot.
No.
And obviously, in the first fight, he must have knew that. So he pushed him on the back foot and destroyed him.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Was actually the right thing to do. Push him back, keep pushing, push. And Wilder couldn't handle it. Because Wilder's like a bully boy that's got to come forward all the time.
Yes.
So if you bully a bully back, they give in the end.
Exactly. Fantastic stuff, Shaun. Thank you very much for joining us here and on the sidelines. You've given us some great stories, great insights into your career and your sparring stories. You're absolute gentleman, very tough man. And yeah, thank you very much for your time, mate. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for even inviting us into your story.
No problem, mate. No problem. We'll get this out there. We'll put a little montage of some of your pictures with Holyfield, etc., and some of the other guys. Put a bit of music together, give you a good intro. We can share it around. So hopefully, some of your friends and family, can hear what we've done today and look at a few pictures and just enjoy a bit about Shaun McCrory, really.
Yeah, I was just about there, but just
Not
a
quite.
little bit away. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was spawn part of a Steve Mormino,
Right.
and that was Glenn's eliminator title fight, and I used to smash him all over the ring in Oklahoma City. And Glenn asked us, "How can I beat him?" I said, "Just jump on him, kid, bully him, and you'll beat him." And I used to smash him all over. And that was his eliminator for the world title.
Right.
And that was at the Morton Country Club, Middlesbrough.
Okay, Middlesbrough, yeah. So your form was good, if you like, Shaun. Your form was good.
Yeah, he was a lot bigger than me. He was a tough guy. But my boxing skills, I used to just move around him, absolutely box the life out of him. And hit him with right hands, shake him all over. But he was tough. He's from Chicago. And he used to come on harder and harder. And he couldn't do a thing with me.
Brilliant. Great stuff, Shaun. Absolute top man. Thank you so much, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.
We'll catch up soon. Cheers, Shaun.
Have a good evening, pal.
Thank you, mate.